The Galactic Ascension Academy was a place where the brightest minds of 100 species gathered to study particle cosmology, starforge engineering, and war theory simulations that could reshape the political balance of entire sectors. Its students were elites, nobles, heirs, and the kind of prodigies who could calculate singularity stress lines before breakfast. And then there was Eli Ward, the human responsible for mopping the hallways. He didn't mind. Humans were still new to the wider galaxy, and the Academy accepted only a handful each year. Eli wasn't one of those chosen few. He simply needed work. The Academy needed a janitor. The exchange was simple. Eli clocked in, cleaned floors, repaired leaky nutrient pipes, replaced shattered holo panels after overexcited Etherian students practiced telekinetic dueling, and stayed out of everyone's way. He smiled politely when the noble-born cadets ignored him or talked loudly about humans like he wasn't there. Humans were the scrappy primitives, the disaster species, the unpredictable mammals. Most aliens didn't know whether to fear them, mock them, or hire them for manual labor. Eli didn't argue. He just swept. But there was one thing he always kept hidden. A small circular tattoo, right below his left ear, etched in black ink. He never touched it. Never mentioned it. Always made sure his collar covered it. Because anyone who recognized that tattoo would know exactly who he was, and what he'd done. Beginning. The tattoo that should never be seen. It started on an unusually quiet cycle. Eli was repairing a grave drain near the Academy dueling hall when the sound of energy clashes echoed through the walls. Students were practicing again. He ignored it, until a sudden tremor rattled the corridor, followed by a burst of flashing red lights. Emergency field breach detected. Eli sighed. Another broken generator. He grabbed his tool belt and jogged toward the dueling hall. Inside, chaos reigned. A shimmering rift of unstable energy swirled in the center of the room, glitching, snapping, pulling debris and air toward it. Two alien students clung to the floor tiles, trying not to be sucked in. "Stay calm," Eli shouted. "Don't move." He dove toward the emergency stabilizer, yanked open the panel, and began rewiring with frantic speed. The rift pulsed angrily, growing. One of the students, a red-hairy noble in ornate dueling armor, lost her grip and began sliding toward the rift. Eli launched himself across the floor, grabbed her wrist, and anchored his boots to the magnetic lock strips. With a grunt, he reeled her back just as the rift surged. The other student, a young Silurian, stared at him wide-eyed. Humans aren't supposed to move that fast. Eli didn't answer. He slammed the last connector into the stabilizer. The rift snapped shut. Silence fell. Only the red-hairy noble's trembling breath filled the hall. Thank you," she whispered. "If you hadn't been here." "I'm just doing my job," Eli said. He started gathering his tools, but the noble girl's gaze caught on his collar, which had been tugged down during the struggle. Her eyes widened. Her skin's bioluminescence flashed yellow in shock. "Your neck," she whispered. Eli froze. "No. Not now. Not here." She stepped closer. Is that the mark of Sigma Black?" Every muscle in Eli's body tensed. The room fell into a suffocating silence. Because Sigma Black wasn't a guild. It wasn't a squad. It wasn't a badge. It was a myth. A whisper. A top-secret human war program rumor that other species dismissed as propaganda. But one thing was known across the galaxy. Those who bore that mark didn't clean floors. They didn't fix drains. They didn't retire. They were ghosts. They were weapons. They were the reason 3 major empires signed ceasefire treaties. Eli slowly stood. "Forget you saw it." She shook her head, frightened. I can't. My father, he's on the Senate Security Council. He told me Sigma Black was disbanded. He said humans promised. They promised nothing, Eli cut in sharply. He pulled up his collar and walked away. But the damage was done. By sundown, half the academy was whispering about the superhuman janitor. And by dawn, someone far more dangerous knew exactly where Eli was. Middle, the hunt comes for him. The attack came during the night cycle. Eli was cleaning the hydroponics bay when the lights flickered and a cold mechanical voice echoed through the speakers. Priority target located. Engaging retrieval protocol. They had finally found him. Eli sprinted down the corridor just as a squad of armored figures, sleek black plating, visorless helms, materialized out of cloaking fields. Not pirates. Not mercenaries. Crown Wardens. The Empire's elite enforcers. The kind sent to apprehend war crimes or assassinate rogue assets. Target, Elian Ward. Former operative, Sigma Black, the lead warden announced. Surrender for extraction. Eli pulled a wrench from his belt. That's not gonna happen. The wardens advanced. What followed was a blur of movement. A strike to the knee joint. A twist behind the helmet seam. A forceful arc of the wrench knocking a power module loose. Eli fought like a man who never wanted to fight again, but who remembered every technique burned into muscle memory. The wardens were strong. He was stronger. But even he couldn't win a prolonged battle. He needed to escape. He needed to hide. He needed Mr. Ward. A voice echoed down the corridor. The Ret Harry Noble from the dueling hall, the one he'd saved, was standing there, eyes wide, clutching a training sword. Run, she shouted. Eli grabbed her wrist and pulled her behind cover as plasma rounds scorched the walls. I told you to forget what you saw, he growled. You saved my life, she shot back. I'm not abandoning you. Damn stubborn alien kid. They ducked through maintenance shafts, slipped into unused service tunnels, and finally reached the deepest level of the academy, an old storage bay no one used anymore. There, Eli revealed the truth. What the academy knows about humans is only what's public, he said quietly. But long before humans joined the Galactic Council, Earth faced things. Threats from outside real space. Sigma Black wasn't created to fight wars between empires. We were built to fight what comes from the dark. Her eyes widened. And you left. I didn't leave. He swallowed. I was the only one who survived. She stared at him with something between awe and heartbreak. Before she could reply, metallic footsteps echoed through the storage bay. They were surrounded. The lead warden stepped forward. Stand down. You are too valuable to be left in civilian space. Eli pushed the girl behind him. If he surrendered, he'd be forced back into the war machine he'd bled his soul into. If he resisted, the academy would become a battlefield. He couldn't allow either. So he lifted his hands, and then the entire room shook. A blast tore through the ceiling. A ship, small, agile, black as void, descended through the smoke, firing EMP nets that wrapped around the wardens and short-circuited their suits. The hatch opened. A woman stepped out. Human. Tall. Scarred. Hello, Eli, she said. Took me long enough to find you. Eli stared in disbelief. Commander Reyes? You died. She smirked. Everyone in Sigma Black died. Standard protocol. You're the only idiot who actually tried to live like a civilian. The Ret Harry Noble blinked. You're all human super soldiers. Reyes nodded. Not anymore. Now we're survivors. And we need Eli back. Eli clenched his jaw. No. I'm not going back. I'm done. Reyes stepped closer, softer now. Then why did the wardens come for you? Why now? Think, Eli. They intercepted a signal. Something is waking up in the dark. Something we were trained for. He felt his stomach drop. The nightmare they had once fought was returning, ending the choice. The wardens were incapacitated. The academy alarms blared in the distance. Reyes stepped aside, giving Eli a clear view of her ship. You don't have to come, she said. But if you don't, millions could die. Again. Eli looked at the red Harry girl he'd saved. At the academy that had given him quiet work. At the floors he'd mopped hoping to forget his past. Quiet wasn't an option anymore. He rolled up his sleeve, revealing more Sigma black marks, ones he had tried to hide for years. Fine, he said. One last mission. Reyes grinned. Knew you'd say that. He turned to the girl. You never saw me, he said firmly. Humans need a little mystery. She nodded, eyes shining. I won't tell anyone. But, will you come back? Eli paused. If the galaxy's still standing, he said. He boarded the ship. The hatch sealed. Engines roared to life. As they lifted into the night sky, the red Harry girl whispered the words the galaxy would soon learn. Humans are terrifying. Because Eli Ward, the quiet janitor who swept floors, was returning to the battlefield he never wanted to see again. And the darkness he once defeated was waiting.